Live in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to our special community talk series, Schmalentines Week, celebrating spectrums of connections. In this week leading up to the holidays that can put a lot of pressure on people to be pursuing or connecting with people in particular kinds of romantic relationships, this little series opens up different possibilities and celebrates different ways that we can connect. And I'm very excited today to be chatting with Elliot Blue, multidisciplinary artist focusing on filmmaking and light design, and director of the short film No Romo. We have a clip for you here.
Oh, rebonjour et bienvenue dans un nouvel épisode de Littérature en quarantaine où nous allons parler de mon thème préféré, love.
Hey, Elliot, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So your film No Romo grew out of three questions. Why is romantic love at the center of society? How did it get that way? And what other ways can we experience love? So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the ways that you like to experience love outside of romantic relationships?
I think that there's many different types of love that I really give a lot of value to. And for example, the love and dedication that I put into my hobbies, for example. I really like to play the keyboard, or I don't have a dog, but I love dogs. And I like going on a walk with whoever has a dog. So, if you have one, call me. And just putting a lot of care and dedication in all of my connections and valuing them as they are. I think that's different ways that I like to experience love.
And one of the things you go into in your film is some of the ways that capitalism can impact our experience and our consumption of romance. So, for example, you talk about how writing a love song and playing that on the radio will likely be a lot more lucrative than writing a song about a brachiosaurus.
Yeah.
Or I love this. Or the ways that our ideas of love are connected to desirability politics. And I wanted to chat a bit about the second point because it can be a little bit sensitive to open up with people. Because on the one hand, we want to draw attention to all these ways that ideology about which bodies we're taught are attractive or worth loving impact how we direct our affection and our desires. But we also want to avoid shaming people because, first of all, it doesn't necessarily lead to a lasting change. And I think actually it can potentially also lead to a kind of dating tokenism where, people do turn their attention to bodies that hold less capital in that economy, but they don't actually give them the same value. And so they don't treat them as well. They're often still kind of, treated as being somehow disposable. So I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on how we can go about deconstructing and shifting our desires and the way we direct our care in ways that undermine that ideology.
Well, I think there are two ways in which I would answer the question, and one of it would be that you don't have to desire someone to care for them, and that independently of our desire for someone or not desire for this person, like sexual desire, romantic desire in this case, we can still like build a network that values people equally, independently of if we have now a romantic or sexual interest for them or not. But the other thing is really like, okay, how have we been taught, as you said, what is desirable and what is not? Um, and can I be like, is this mine or is this not mine? Like, I don't know if this is super clear, but okay, so we have been taught very specific images of, oh, wow, this is so hot or this is not. But then in these moments of reacting like this, to be like, okay, is this something I've been taught or is this something that I feel? Or do I desire this person or do I want to be desired by this person? Do I want to be connected to this person or do I want societal recognition? Just to see, okay, what is happening and just being intentional about putting our attention and our focus on that. Yeah. Without shaming ourselves, but just to be like, okay, just have a look.
Yeah, I find also that because it doesn't help to try to force yourself to desire a different thing, but when you reflect in that way, often that itself leads to a shift in the way you relate to yourself, and so also the way you relate to your desires, and that usually already kind of affects a certain shift. There are other ways also that you highlight and interrogate the ways that power and politics impact love, which a lot of people I think of as this very pure thing that like is outside of politics. So you quote Bell Hooks in saying that awakening to love can only happen as we let go of our obsession with power and domination. And also, the first person that you speak with in the film describes romantic love as a kind of love that can only happen when you can waste resources and time and energy on upholding and maintaining fantasies. But you also say later in the film that you actually don't think romantic love is the problem, but the fact that we don't question how we live it and what we expect from it, or ways that we make romantic relationships more legitimate than others. I'd love to hear about some of the ways that you imagine relating to and living romantic love, and yeah, how you might decide to um, direct your desire and care and affection in politicized ways.
Okay, so I think that so we often tend to be like, okay, this is a romantic relationship, and thus because it's a romantic relationship, I will hold hands with you, and then I will go to the movies, and then when we finish that, we will do this and that, and then I'm gonna take you home and show you to my mama, and then etc., etc. And I just think that's a very specific set of ways and a specific social role to have for a romantic relationship. And then I ask myself if the romantic relationship in itself, is it a feeling or is it a manual of operation? And I ask myself, okay, can we change that manual of operation, or can we also maybe not define so specifically, you are my romantic person and you are not my romantic person, but okay, you are a person, I'm a person, we have a connection. What do we want in this connection? So to maybe like break also this binary of this non-romantic and romantic, and to be also intentional about what elements we want to have in a relationship with someone and what elements are not. And also if we say, okay, I want to have a romantic relationship, but I don't want to hold your hand in the U-Bahn, also acceptable. Or like just to be like, okay, how do we want to do this kind of, I think. And also maybe also step away from this over focus on this romantic sphere and see elements that are also in a romantic relationship being somewhere else. Like there's other ways to care, there's other ways to create belonging and safety and love than this very specific way of navigating a social connection. Yeah, does that make sense?
That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, with this episode also, we wanted specifically to focus on friendship. And I would love to hear some of the ways that you like to celebrate and affirm the friendships in your life.
Mm, okay.
Which friendships can also be quite romantic, actually.
They can, that's the thing. It's not so easily distinguishable sometimes. I like to, I just like the idea. And of course, it's always easier said than done, right? So it's easy to say some theories, but it's more difficult to to actually do them because we've been raised in a specific system and it's very difficult to get that out of your system, right? But I like the idea of just kind of putting as much affection and as much care in your friendships as you would in how you are told to live your romantic relationships.
Sweet. Thanks so much for chatting with me, Elliot. And your film is actually going to be screening, having an online screening very soon. Do you want to tell folks about that?
Right. So it's going to be on the 17th of February. Just let me check. And it's at the a museum in Freiburg.
Sweet. Yeah. So check somewhere along with this post, we will have that information for you for how you can watch Elliot's film No Romo February 17th
Mhm.
uh, this month. Thank you again so much for watching. Thanks, Elliot, for speaking with me.
Merci de m'avoir rejoint sur Littérature en quarantaine. À la semaine prochaine.